Shut up and sit down.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Carlos Redlich and David Allen, and this is the Takeover Tuesday Show, episode 6. So today we're going to be talking about morning rituals and a few other cool kick-ass tips that'll help you out through your throughout your journey. And the first thing I kind of want to start off with is I'm going to go ahead and ask David. Hey, David, man, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, man. I'm looking forward to episode 6 and talking about some morning rituals. I think is today's show.
Hell yeah, man. And hey, just so our audience knows, David is he actually does what he talks about. He's a street performer. He does a bunch of cool shit. He's always traveling to new places. What is that digital nomad? I guess it's a really good definition for him as well. So hey, where are you at now? Because you're always in different places.
I'm in New Orleans, and I will be here for a while because it's the winter time, and as a street performer, you need some warm climate to apply your trade. So
Right.
I'll be in New Orleans for several months, just trying to stay warm while being outside.
Very cool. Very cool. I love that shit. We got to get some videos of you actually doing the stuff, man. I can't wait. I got to see that.
Yeah, we definitely have to. And you're in Florida, of course, where it's nice and warm. That's probably one of the few other places that I would venture to this time of year is Florida. I don't know if I come to Jacksonville, but Fort Myers, Key West, and stuff like that.
Hell yeah. Well, hey, let's dive right in, man. What are some of your morning rituals? Is there anything you do every single morning to get your day started for success?
Yeah, you know what? It's kind of difficult sometimes because I travel so much, and so you're never quite in the same place in the same situation. But I think the ones that stay the most normalized and that I do the most often, which would be upwards of 85% of the time, would be I definitely, and this sounds probably everyone probably does this, but I always drink coffee. I'm a big coffee.
I'm drinking coffee now. It's the
Yeah,
best thing in the world.
I know, and so am I. I have to have that coffee for some reason. It's probably like psychological and all that, but of course the caffeine stimulates me to get up and going, and I think it's kind of one of those things where it's like a signpost for like, okay, this shit's about to get rolling,
Right.
So
Shit's about to go down. The caffeine is
exactly. Now, one of the things I try to do, yeah, one of the things I try to do is, and I got this. I will give credit where credit is due. I got this idea, or the way to phrase this, I guess, from another copywriter by the name of Ben Settle. It was an email.
Yeah, he's a fucking awesome ass email writer.
Yeah, he's a badass email guru. He wouldn't like me to say that, probably, but but he said that you should spend the first hour of your day working for yourself.
I like.
Yeah, so if you have projects, if you're got stuff to sell and you need to write copy for yourself, or you're going to work on, for me, sometimes it's working on my street show. I will take those new ideas and stuff and spend them. And I spend a couple hours in the morning reading, coming up with new stuff, or writing. If I have copy or emails to write for somebody else, I will do that stuff later. Once I'm done the sort of paying myself first, if you will. So that's definitely two of the things I try to do. Now, depending on where I am, what city I'm in, how long I'm going to be there, which is not always clear. One of the things I did get in the habit the last couple of years was going to the gym. So I would try to, and one thing I found out about myself is I'm either kind of an all in or nothing person. So either I'm 100% sold on something and I'm going to do it, or I don't do it. I have no shot at doing it at all, basically.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Yeah, so I would go to the gym every day. Not to do, like, not to, and I mostly lift weights, but not to lift weights necessarily every day. Like I would go sometimes and just walk on the treadmill for half an hour, 40 minutes or something like that, because I was just accruing the habit of going every day so that I maintained it over the long haul. So I wanted it to become the daily ritual so that I would always go there, even if I didn't really go crazy on it or something, which I'd only do a couple times a week. I'd really go, work super hard at the gym or something and be recovering for most of the rest of it. But I would always walk or something. And that's sort of when I caught up on the news and stuff like that too, because they all have TVs on treadmills and stuff like that nowadays.
Yeah, that's good. Exactly.
So you get that
Get
stuff
two
out of
things
the
done
way.
at once.
Yeah, get everything done at once and sort of that, what's going on in the world stuff, which I don't watch the news a whole lot. I don't listen to that kind of stuff. I'm kind of off usually creating or doing something. So that's usually those three things I think are pretty big. The drinking of the coffee, of course, but the doing your own shit first, and then and trying to maintain some semblance of health, whether you go to the gym or you stay at home and do it, or whatever. I seem to be really energized when I was going to the gym every day and keeping it regular. I felt like I had, like, of course, a lot more energy and stuff for the rest of the day, uh, as opposed to when I'm traveling. I'm not going to the gym because I'm not gonna. And that's another thing about people. If you're traveling, this is sort of the gym industry, and I'm sure you probably know this, Carlos, because you were involved in that industry, has really changed over the last like 10 years. And they have before it was hard not to get anything besides like a 6 month membership or a 3 month or something like that, and now they have all these places all over where it's like you can get that 1 month membership for $20 or whatever, and it makes it really easy for people like me, digital nomads, people who travel a lot, to sort of drop into new cities and just get that 1 month thing. And if it's only $20, who cares if you're only there for 2 weeks instead of 4 or whatever.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so it's so for people traveling, that's something that they don't already know. That it's Planet Fitness is one that's big in America.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's super important, and it's fun. It's funny. I've definitely slipped on that. I got to get back onto it. But definitely when I was working out more and doing everything, I had more energy. I was ready to go more. I felt sharper, and I think if you're not in shape now and you're still kicking butt, just imagine when you're in shape. You'll be fucking amazing. You'll be like a Terminator or something.
Oh,
anyway, but
So, what about you, Carlos? You have some morning rituals?
well, yeah, it's funny. I have about maybe 3, 4 things. It's probably about 4 things, but the last two may switch up kind of just depending on how I feel. But I mean, the first thing I do, and it's gonna sound kind of funny, I guess, or whatever, but is I just grab my phone, since most of my business comes from like Facebook. Like I'll put an ad out in a Facebook group or whatever it is, or sometimes you get referrals, but it all comes through Facebook to me. So I'll get messages throughout the night, and because everybody's throughout all over the fucking world, so I'll be getting messages 3 a.m., 4 a.m., whatever, and I just I'll wake up around 5:45, 6 a.m., and the first thing I do is I look to my right, grab my phone, and just start fucking responding, because I'll have about 30 notifications and maybe like 3 to 5 messages or something. So if you have 3 to 5 messages, they're real quick, bang, 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 and I automatically, like, I kind of like to wake up with money on my mind. Like, I mean, it sounds like a fucking rap song, right?
I thought you were gonna spit some lyrics there for a sec, Carlos.
And the first thing I do, I mean, it's maybe it came from when I was like I couldn't even pay rent and shit. So back in the day, so I remember like I was fucking like the first thing I would do is go to sleep with needing money and everything. And I've noticed that when you get a little bit of success, some of that, at least for me, I feel like I'd gotten soft a little, because I was like, well, I'm not really suffering, you know what I mean? I'm kind of comfy right now, so I don't need to push forward. So I think if for me personally, the first thing I do is I need to get my mind trained to do business, so I don't go into soft, pudgy mode and get fucked up, right? So the first thing I do is respond to everybody who's either commented on my Facebook stuff, or message me privately to see if we can set up a meeting. And that's the first thing I do. The second thing I do is I get it. And so I'm doing this all while I'm still in bed. I just grab my phone and start doing it. So if you have a smartphone, that's the fucking bomb. Then I go get up, make some coffee, While that coffee is making, I'm still either putting out content, like writing stuff throughout the day. So I don't always do this. Usually I just post in the moment, but so like I said, I get most of my clientele through Facebook. Like I've got potential clients that are my friends on Facebook that haven't hired me, but they just like my shit. So one of my kind of strategies is I just build a bunch of trust, and I've been doing it now for 6, 7 months, and now I'm starting to get people randomly messaging me almost every day for a few emails or an article, little things like that. But those little things, they to projects. Yeah, well, yeah, they add up, but kind of the way my funnel works is I don't care if it's a lot of copywriters try to sell you on like a $15,000 thing up front to get all this money, and then I think that's a really cool move. For me, it's just not the strategy for me because I was doing that, and it's just I don't know. I don't like it. To me, I kind of like having royalties and a retainer. So now I've got clients, and one just agreed to a 10K a month retainer, but I don't want to say anything yet too much because he hasn't. It's 10K and 7% royalties, which is fucking sick. So he agreed to it, but he's getting his CFO hopefully today or tomorrow to send me a fucking contract and agreement. So yeah. So I'm just pumped. Anyway, that's a little bragging. But I got everything. But nothing's done until the everything is inked out and everything. But yeah. So that, like I said, I just like to get my whole mind, everything ready to go for business because if you're gonna hit your goals, at least for me, I just need to be on and on fire as much as possible. So first thing is I respond to all my Facebook stuff, my messages. I go ahead and get coffee. That's my number 2. My number 3 really is start putting out content. And my last one is write copy. Now, kind of figuring all of this is within about an hour and a half. Right, it's not very long. So it's within an hour and a half, these 4 things happen. And if I've got a lot of copywriting work, I usually do my best work in the morning. So I might get coffee and then just step into my office and start writing a bunch of copy. Get coffee, then write copy, and then start putting fucking content. But anyway, yeah, those are kind of my 4 things. This just gets me geared and ready to go, and I feel like then it's good. I think stuff like that. I don't know, man. I'm just trying it. I guess I'm figuring this out. So far, I kind of like it because if my personality is, I'll get comfy because I'm like, well, I don't really need to get another like $2,000. Like I could just be fine. Like I don't, But I remember, months and months and months ago that I was fucking like I couldn't even pay the bill. I couldn't pay lights or what. I mean, it was scary, So I just did that, and I'm like, you know what? Time to get back on the fucking grind, because if not, I'm just gonna get soft. This shit's gonna run out, and then only the strong will survive in like 5 or 10 years. So I just need to keep on building. So that's kind of how I'm at it.
No, I agree with that last sentiment for sure, because I encounter people all the time. It's one of the things you sort of, as a street performer, you sort of come in contact with a lot of people when you travel. And this is probably the same. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. It's kind of the same in entrepreneurship. Maybe less so because it depends how you connect with those people, maybe. But when you're a street performer, you're kind of out. You're out there in the public, and so you'll run into other people who sort of claim to be street performers or say they're street performers, and sort of the longer you're street performing, you sort of, one of the things that you really seem to, or at least for me, one of the things I really honed is my bullshit detector.
Yeah.
So you run into people who are like, oh yeah, man, I've been doing this for a while, and I can tell within like 15 seconds, like, no, you haven't. Because they're not hungry enough, they would be doing it differently. And
Right.
That's sort of the mother of invention, is that sort of desperation and stuff you're talking about. You couldn't turn the light, you couldn't pay the light bill or whatever.
Yeah, you gotta have that shit. If you don't have it, you lose that fire, and I really think you just get soft. I mean, I'm guilty of it, but I mean, you just got to snap yourself the fuck out of it. I think as soon as people start hitting, like, I mean, I remember when $3,000 a month for me would have been like $5,000 would have been fucking, oh my God, I could like, that's fucking amazing. Oh my God. I remember thinking this. And so I would get $5,000 and then I'd be like, well, all right, I'm cool now. And then I'd be like, no, I can't fucking, what am I going to be like 50 years old and I'm only getting $5,000. I can't do that. I need to make more. I need to make more. I mean, what am I going to do? I could just have a job then. So I just really scare the fuck out of it's really how I got good at martial arts is I didn't want to get beat up or fucked up and shit. So I just trained longer than everybody else. So I think for me, fear is a big motivator. So you got to figure out your why and just kind of figure out what are you doing in the morning that's setting you up for success to get what
Right.
you want. You know what I mean?
No, I totally agree with that. One of the things I sort of evolved over time in the street performing thing was I didn't count the money as I made it,
Right.
because one of two things would happen. I sort of got to know myself sort of in this area was if it was a lot of money, if I got a lot of money quickly, I was more apt to quit earlier and just be like,
Right.
that's enough. I don't have a lot of overhead, so who cares? I got enough to eat at a nice restaurant if I want tonight or whatever. And the
Right.
reverse was true. If it was crappy, if the tipping was poor that night, or there just wasn't a lot of people out or whatever, the same thing. I'd say, well, it's kind of crappy. There's no sense in continuing because the tipping hasn't been that good. So now what I do is I try to just go out anyways. I just go out for a certain number of hours and worry about that later. I usually count it the next day and stuff because I
Yeah.
try to keep like an even keel, if you will.
Right. What do you do when you like try to get attention? I've always been curious about this. When you're doing your performing and on the street and shit, is there anything specific that you do to get attention?
Yeah, there's a number of things. So the way I was sort of taught to do it, and I think the way I do it most of the time now, uh, there's sort of two schools of thought on this. One is to create a giant spectacle. So by making noise, having a lot of movement, I usually lay a rope out that sort of acts as an impromptu stage. And so
That's pretty sick.
and
That's
so
smart.
I'll get in people's way, on purpose because they're walking down the sidewalk or something. Let's say you're sort of, and as you're laying it out, you're sort of in your own little bubble. You start talking to people as they go by, kind of like you don't want to miss this or whatever, something.
Right.
And you sort of, the more you do it, the more street performing is kind of weird for anybody out there listening to this. Just do, I urge people to go out just for one day. If you play an instrument or you do some juggle or do something, go out for one day and attempt to street performing, because you will learn some stuff about yourself that you can't learn any other way. I don't think it's like it's one of those things where you'll be scared shitless. And and even if you're an extroverted person, and I've been extroverted probably most of my entire life, like I'll talk to people just because I'm bored everywhere. I'll talk them into the in line buying coffee at the restaurant, the table next to me, whatever. But you get out there and now you're trying to be, put on a show or something. It's your mind goes to a whole different places, and I think your mind is always looking for like the negative aspects of things. So you're kind of like, I can't even talk to these people. It's weird. But yeah, you create a spectacle basically by sort of announcing what you're doing. Maybe. Usually, what I do though is I direct people's focus onto me as they're walking by. So as they're approaching from sort of the periphery, I will direct their attention to something I'm about to do. So I will basically just say, "Watch."
Yeah. Just watch.
Yeah, just basically tell them what to do. It's a statement, And a lot of people, of course, are like, they're walking around in a daze anyways. Especially if you're a street performer, chances are you're in some sort of tourist location. So people are kind of just walking around meandering, half in the bag, maybe whatever, and they need to have their attention focused. So if you give them something to focus on, then they're like, okay, oh, what's he gonna do here? And then that stimulates. And once one group stops or two people stop or whatever, then everyone else starts to look at why those people stopped, who are they watching, and then it sort of snowballs.
Right.
So
That's cool shit, dude.
yeah, crowds are built on the first sort of couple people.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's some cool. And then I get, like you said, it's kind of like a little avalanche, a little
Yeah,
domino
it is because
effect.
people are wondering, am I missing something?
Right. Well, that's pretty cool. Fucking well, so what do you think are the biggest fucking I love our podcast. You can say anything you want. So what do you think? You're better probably at this than I am, but I think really the biggest takeaway is that you've got to have a little morning ritual for yourself. I mean, you've got to have something that you do consistently that makes sure you're success oriented for what you want to do. Like what you're doing is prepping your mind to accomplish something. I personally think it should be very good, motivating, positive, forward thinking stuff, and I try to avoid any kind of negative anger type stuff. Hit me with that shit at after 3 p.m. Come on.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's probably why I really don't listen to the news or read the news or do any of that stuff. If I do click on Facebook or something, it's usually entertainment related or something. The new trailer for the new Star Wars movie or something. Because that's a positive thing. It's something I'm looking forward to or whatever, and as a result, I want to see. And because I'm a creative, and an entertainer, I like to look at new stuff like that to see what they're doing. And as a copywriter or a marketer, you're looking at ways they're trying to present this to get people, riled up in the most biggest possible way to in anticipation of this movie, and stuff like that. So, but I don't, because it's just so much negative. I mean, news is just negativity. 90% of it is just negativity. So I think, yeah, for the morning ritual, I will direct people to a great resource for something like this. There's a guy named, and you probably know this guy, Carlos, James Altucher. I don't know if we've talked about this guy in the previous podcast because I really don't remember. But yeah, his name is James Altucher, ALTUCHER.com. He has a blog. And he has something he calls the daily practice. And it is a series of morning rituals that have to do with gratitude, generating ideas, and so forth. People can go to there and see for themselves because it's thoroughly explained. And he has used that daily practice to pull himself out of, he made a lot of money, he lost a lot of money, he made a lot of money. He's done it several times. And he made a study out of why he was successful, why he was able to pull himself back up to massive success, and his daily practice were the things he had in common when he was really successful, and he stopped doing them when he became bankrupt or less successful. So it's a great resource, and one of the things I don't do, which I sort of do on and off, is he has this thing called where he tells you in the daily practice to generate 10 new ideas a day. So he'll say he carries around waiter's pads, so he can write down ideas and stuff. But he creates 10 new ones every day. He just writes them down. Doesn't try to make it very elaborate or flush them out or anything. Just idea for this, a book, an article I want to write, whatever. Writes them down. Tries to get 10 every day. And then he has this concept that he calls idea sex. And
Ideas.
Yeah, idea sex. And what that is, yeah, it's a great title. What that is because you've written these 10 ideas every day, and this goes on for as long as, goes on infinitely. What starts to happen, I've had this happen to me, is that these 10 ideas will start to merge or commingle in your mind with the other 10 ideas from yesterday or whatever, and you'll have these things converge into a new idea because it's taken a piece of this, like this article. You wanted to write an article about this, but you put a twist on it because you added something you thought of 3 days ago. And so you come up with a lot more interesting, engaging things because these things start to merge together. Now, for anybody out there, I had this idea when I first heard about that, and maybe this exists now because it's been a couple of years since I first thought of this. But for any enterprising person who's into building iPhone apps or whatever, I've always thought to myself, this is a perfect example of something you could turn into an app. You have, every day it pops up a list of 10 spaces that you can fill with ideas, and then you let the computer component of it commingle the ideas for you and broadcast them along like you would like the stock market ticker or something,
Huh. That's pretty cool.
Because it would combine like the two the words that you used for one from yesterday and one from the day before, and just merge those words together. So you could see them running back and forth, along the bottom of your app screen or whatever. And that might stimulate even more, ideas. Cause it's usually when I'm reading or watching something that I get ideas.
Right. That's pretty cool shit.
So anyone out there wants to build that and just give me one, that'd be great.
Nice stuff, man. Nice stuff. Well, hey, I think that was a good call. I think a lot of people should be able to take away some stuff. Make sure you guys put down what your morning rituals are. And definitely, if you keep on doing that, consistency is key. And doing that over a long period of time is where you're going to get, the most bang for your buck, I guess. Consistency and just keep on doing it.
Yeah, if anybody wants to send us their morning rituals, or we invite conversation, of course, and we'd love to hear from everybody that's listening. It's the facebook.com/Takeover Tuesday podcast. We're going to have an email address soon. It's something that's sort of been neglectful, but so people can send it directly to the show and stuff. But post on the wall. Send us your morning rituals if you have some interesting ones that we've never heard of or never thought of before. That'd be great to hear from people. And otherwise, you got anything extra to add to this, Carlos?
No, I mean, just stay motivated, stay hungry, and just go kick some ass today.
Awesome, guys. Yeah, go kick ass. We'd also like, of course, as we always do, like to thank Ben Sound at bensound.com for the intro and outro music. And next week, to provide a bit of a cliffhanger, what's the date today? I want to make sure I get this right because I screwed this up last time. But
today's the 7th.
Today's the 7th. So on the 14th of December, which is the next Takeover Tuesday podcast, we will have Chris Haddad, aka Mr. Moneyfingers, who's a copywriter who has written millions of dollars worth of, accruing millions of dollars of business for his own and other people's projects. He'll be on the show next week, and he's kind of a crazy dude. So I think it's going to be a lively, entertaining conversation because he's a bit out there.
Yeah.
And I like that.
I love it. You know what? I've never had a chance of actually talking to Chris before. I've seen his stuff, and it's fucking amazing. I liked his style and all his shit before I knew it was him, and then I found out it was him. I'm like, oh, this guy fucking must be crushing it, So it's funny. I actually saw one or two videos of him on YouTube once. So if nobody's ever heard of him, definitely check him out. He doesn't have a lot of videos that I've been able to find, but the few that he's got really do kick ass. And if anybody asks me about copywriting and stuff like that, I usually have him pop up, and I usually send them to one of those videos. So he's I didn't know he was going to be coming on the show, so that's going to be awesome. Very exciting news, guys.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Anyone who's an aspiring copywriter and who's or just has a business that needs copywriting, we're going to learn a lot probably next week. And he's just a fun guy, so I think it's going to be a raucous romp through the sales world, if you will.
Very cool. Hey, I'll be hanging out in Miami this upcoming or next week sometime, or I think maybe this weekend. So hey, anybody who's in Miami and you want to do a little mastermind or something, let me know. Maybe we can work something out and see if we can exchange some kick-ass ideas.
Yeah, if people are in Miami, you guys should go, or if you're in New Orleans, come find me. I'm out on the street most days, especially on the weekends. I'll be wearing a giant top hat. But the people in Miami, look up Carlos, seriously, because Carlos is a riot, and you guys will have a good time.
Great, man. Hey, I'll talk to you later. Hope everybody on the call had a great job, a great time. Good takeaways, man. Talk to you guys next week.
Sounds good. Later, Carlos.
Ciao.